for firefighters, EMTs, first responders, you basically get yanked out of one of these sleep cycles and you're not allowing your body to recover or your mind. And getting yanked out of that sleep cycle is where your nervous system starts to take a hit. And that's just kind of what it is. But you do this enough over the course of many years, and your brain and your nervous system starts to take a hit. Your body starts to take a hit. This is why your nervous system is constantly on, right? You have that fight or flight. Your sympathetic nervous system cannot downshift because you're constantly taking it out of your sleep cycles. All right, welcome back to the Next Level Dad Fitness Podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about firefighter sleep. How bad is it really, and what can we do about it? I'm going to talk about the effects that it has on our mental health, our physical health, and the effects of waking up multiple times per night during these different sleep cycles that we have. Now, I know that there's endless information out there on firefighter fitness, how to get on the job, what you need to do to prepare for your physical fitness, your strength training. You have core training, you have kettlebell work, you have hill sprints, you have all of this endless information on how to prepare to be a firefighter at the highest level that you can possibly be, right? But there isn't a lot of information out there and a lot of discussion on the recovery of being a firefighter. So what are you supposed to do? You got a couple of years on, you got some time on, and you're getting home and you're just wrecked because you only slept 2 hours for the last 3 nights. What are you supposed to do? Where's the information at? How am I supposed to now come home to my family? How am I supposed to react to a house that is upside down? Right? A lot of us have that. We have little kids at home, and sometimes the house is a mess. A lot of the times the house is a mess. What am I supposed to think when I come home and I go from a nice clean fire station? Everything's organized, everything's dialed in, hopefully. And now I come home and my stress is super high. I feel tired. I feel wired all at the same time. I didn't get any sleep. I can't shut my mind off. Maybe you had a crazy call. Maybe you had a fire. Maybe you had a cardiac arrest. All of these things are going on in your mind, and now you come home and you have to transition from work to family. What are we supposed to do? You know, there's some guys in it that I've been fortunate to talk to. I've heard of guys going to 26, 28 calls per day. Some guys in San Bernardino. Man, there's some busy spots out there. And that's all commendable. You guys were getting up 4 to 5 times per night. You know, on average, you're serving your communities, you're taking care of business, and you're not complaining. You know, all of this is just a discussion, but whew, man, that is some hard, heavy work. So my goal here today is to talk about the sleep, your sleep cycles, what happens when you wake up during these sleep cycles, and what we can do. What can we actually do about this lack of sleep and recovery? So let's talk about the sleep cycles. What are they? On a normal night, our bodies go through about 4 to 6 sleep cycles per night, and they rotate about every 90 minutes. The first sleep cycle is your light sleep. This is the transition phase when you start dozing off, your muscles start to relax, your heart rate goes down. And from here, you're preparing your body to move forward to that deep sleep. So if you're on duty and you get a call during this light sleep cycle, it's going to feel like you're getting up from a nap. You're probably going to feel a little bit groggy, but you're kind of quickly able to snap out of it and you're able to function. So it's not the worst, but it's certainly not fun because you're like, oh gosh, I was almost there, almost into some good sleep. But hey, you got up and now you're moving forward, taking care of business. And so now the next sleep cycle is your deep sleep cycle. This phase of sleep is when your body is recovering and repairing itself. During this phase of our sleep cycle, our natural growth hormone is released into the bloodstream, and it gives you that muscle recovery, that immune system support, and that tissue repair. So for firefighters, this is the most important physical recovery stage that we can go through in our sleep. Our body is literally repairing itself during our deep sleep, and that happens right after your light sleep cycle. If you get up during this phase of your sleep cycle, you feel absolutely disoriented. You feel like you got hit by a truck. And you guys know how that feels. During this sleep cycle, you're walking down the stairs, you're walking to your apparatus, and you feel like you can't even open your eyes. I know that for myself as an engineer, the driver of our apparatus, I have to like open my eyes super wide. I have to like open my mouth, right? Just so I can like even turn the engine on and get us going safely, effectively, right? Because that's my most important job. It's kind of a random thing, getting woken up from deep sleep, and now you have to go drive this ginormous apparatus. But this is why getting up from your deep sleep feels as painful as it does, is because your body, your physical body, is recovering during this sleep cycle. And so, a fun fact that most missed calls that we have, right? If somebody's like stays asleep during a call, it's more than likely that this firefighter or first responder EMT was in their deep sleep cycle. Now you got to go upstairs, you got to go wake them up, you got to page them out, whatever it is, hey, at least they were getting some deep sleep. So that's a good thing. I can remember my whole career, I've been fortunate to be able to work this type of schedule for many, many years. And I've only missed one call. And that was when I was on probation as a firefighter. I was my first day at a new station, new captain, very first call, middle of the night. I slept through it. Captain came up, woke me up, like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. And like, oh my gosh, on probation, that is the absolute worst feeling in the world, is when you don't even know the captain. You don't even know anybody. No, you don't have a track record of doing good things, right? You're brand new and now you're missing calls. It's like, oh gosh, I was in my deep sleep cycle. So that was my excuse. And so some of you guys are constantly sleeping through calls. And you know who you are. It happens. It's all good. We'll just come and get you. But that's your deep sleep. And the third phase of your sleep cycle is your REM sleep, which is your rapid eye movement cycle, which is your mental recovery sleep cycle. So this is where your dreamings, your emotions get processed, and your brain is essentially resetting itself. Sometimes your heart rate will change. Sometimes you'll get some type of breathing changes, and your brain appears to be on from all of the mental activity that's going on in this phase of your sleep cycle. So during this phase, it's important for your mood, your stress tolerance, your decision making. If you're on duty and you get up during this phase of the sleep cycle, you're more than likely going to be irritated, mentally off, or maybe just a little bit anxious. I know that for whatever reason, I get up during this sleep cycle and I go to the restroom in the middle of the night. And for some reason, I just feel like anxious. I just for no reason, I notice that I have these kind of irrational thoughts or just anxiety. And that for me is a trigger like, oh, I'm just in my REM sleep cycle that I'm feeling like this. So that's what that feeling is. So the big difference between these last two sleep cycles, your deep sleep is where your body is recovering, and your REM sleep is when your brain is recovering. Then after this phase, the REM, your sleep cycle will then repeat. So you'll go from light, deep, REM, repeat. And this cycle repeats itself around every 90 minutes. So for the average person who doesn't work this type of schedule, you can count on these sleep cycles, right? You can get to bed and you can repair your body, repair your mind, and it'll just repeat itself. But for firefighters, EMTs, first responders, you basically get yanked out of one of these sleep cycles, and you're not allowing your body to recover, or your mind. And getting yanked out of that sleep cycle is where your nervous system starts to take a hit. You wake up, you do your job, you don't complain, you know, and that's just kind of what it is, right? But you do this enough over the course of many years, and your brain and your nervous system starts to take a hit. Your body starts to take a hit. This is why your nervous system is constantly on. You have that fight or flight. Your sympathetic nervous system cannot downshift because you're constantly taking it out of your sleep cycles. And that's not a normal thing. So, why is it that you feel irritated, right, in the morning? Why do you feel super tired, but you still feel wired? You go home, you want to go to bed, like I said. You have the opportunity, okay, I'm going to sleep right when I get home. But you can't shut your mind off. And what happens? You sit there for an hour and you just cannot shut it down. And this is, for whatever reason, it always happens. The dog is just barking and barking and barking. The trash man is dropping all the glass bottles, seems like right next to your window. The gardener is working right outside of your window. And you're like, oh gosh, I just wish I can go to sleep. You're irritated. You're at home. Should be relaxing. You can't. So what do? You get up, you find something to do. Hopefully it's something productive. Hopefully it's something that'll help you. But as we've seen for many years, firefighters turn to other things to try to get them to regulate, try to get them to downshift. And a lot of it is drinking. There's a culture of drinking. And if you drink and you like it, more power to you. But if you are using alcohol to help you down regulate, to help you kind of just wind down from all of this fight or flight, that's a huge problem. And that's going to open up a can of worms to other things that, that we don't, we do not want, right? A lot of firefighter suicides recently. I mean, it's always been a thing, and I'm glad that there is discussion now on firefighter suicide. But the above mentioned scenarios where you just can't down regulate, you can't turn off that sympathetic response, so you turn to booze or drugs, man, that's just a road down some very bad places. So that's my goal here today, is to at least have the discussion, at least have the information, put it out there so that you know what your stress hormone is, your cortisol levels. What is that? What does that even mean, your cortisol levels? I know for a long time, he talked about hormones and it's like, what? Hormones, that's like a female thing. Like, guys, I'm just like easy, I'm steady, man. No, absolutely, positively not. We have hormones, and more than likely, our hormones are all the way wonky, man. We have our stress hormone, which is our cortisol. And so, if you get up multiple times per night, working round the clock, our cortisol levels are all over the place. This is your stress hormone. You get home, you can't shut off the brain, you start to feel anxious. That is your cortisol, your testosterone, which gives you your motivation, your ability to build muscle. That is probably at the floor when you don't sleep, right? You have no motivation. You don't want to do anything. And now your insulin controls your blood sugar. And so, just another point on insulin and poor sleep. If you guys notice that when you get off work and you had a crappy night, you just have more cravings. You have more cravings, especially for junk food. And that is your insulin being all over the place. And it just always seems to happen that anytime, we have a crappy night, someone brings in a giant box of Randy's donuts. Oh my gosh, those donuts are so good. We got them here on the west side, just maybe 2 miles from my station down in Inglewood. Gosh, Randy's is so delicious. I try to stay away from them, but hey, sometimes you just got to have a Randy's. But that lack of that lack of self-control and that just cravings, that's your insulin just being all over the place. And that's a very important hormone that, guys, man, we just totally overlook. Like, hormones, get out of here, right? I can remember coming home, working on the paramedic RA, and getting up multiple times per night. I would come home, and if anything was out of place, I would just get so irritated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got off a 72-hour shift. I'm taking care of business. I'm doing my job at work. Now I come home, the house is a mess. It wasn't actually a mess. There was like 4 toys on the ground, but I just didn't have that wherewithal. I didn't have that maturity, and I didn't have the experience and the awareness that I needed to have to realize that it's just my hormones. It's just my cortisol. It's sky high. Stop picking fights with your wife. It's not her fault, right? It's nobody's fault. This is just what it is. And I know I'm not the only one out there that comes home and you might see some dishes in the sink. You might see some stuff kind of laying around. And for whatever reason, like, oh gosh, it's so irritating. It's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. You just need to recover. You need to have a plan for recovery. I had no plan. I had zero. Nobody ever told me, hey, when you come home and you're wrecked, follow this plan. Just follow it. Right. And so that's why I hope that I can now transition into is, okay, we all know that the job is what it is. You wake up, you do your job, you handle business. What am I supposed to do? What can I actually do? Well, you can't control the call volume at work. You cannot control the things that happen at work. But what you can control is how you recover from them on your off days. And so the first thing that I recommend is track your sleep. Okay. Why track your sleep? I think there's something to be said when you look on your phone on an app that tracks your sleep and you see that you got 2.5 hours of sleep that night, that it just sets something off like, okay, I know I'm seeing this number that I'm way off today, right? So when you see that you got 3 hours of sleep, you won't have these crazy expectations of I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and the house needs to be this. It just does something for me mentally when I see that, okay, I need to now down regulate and I need to take it easy today. Not only being aware that you have or that you're running on 3 hours of sleep, that awareness is one, but also the information that this Aura ring, and you can do Aura, you can do the Apple Watch has a bunch of sleep apps. If you don't want to wear the Apple Watch at night, I recommend getting the Aura. Aura ring is great. It's got your total sleep, it's got your REM sleep, it has your deep sleep, it has your latency, which is basically the amount of time that it took for you to fall asleep. It has the time you were in bed versus the total amount of sleep you got, resting heart rate variability, SpO2. It's got so much good information on there that you can look at and you're like, okay, I need to work on this on my off day. I need to work on this as I'm getting home. Can't control it at work, but you can control it at home. So the next thing is getting home. What do I want to do? Do I want to go hit leg day at the gym? Probably not. What I want to do is go outside and get some sunlight. I'll come home, drop the kids off at school, and then go outside, get some sunlight. Sunlight will help you reset your circadian rhythm and it'll help you uh, re-anchor your circadian rhythm. And it just basically allows you to get better blood circulation. It'll help you improve your mood. You're outside. Maybe you run into a neighbor and they have some, cool story. You're talking, you're now engaging, and you're not thinking about the lack of sleep you got. For me, I love walking my neighborhood. I'm so grateful that I'm able to live in an awesome neighborhood here in Santa Clarita. It's just beautiful here, and I'm thankful for that. And that allows me to express gratitude, and it helps me just kind of uplift my mood when I have those types of nights. So, a lot of people might say, stay away from caffeine when you get off work and you had just an awful night, don't drink coffee. And, I've tried that, but honestly, that doesn't work for me. I, number one, love coffee. I drink it whether I sleep or I don't sleep. And I just love the taste of it. I love putting some cinnamon in there, some half and half. I love coffee, and not drinking coffee in the morning is really, really hard for me. So, what am I supposed to do? Like, stay away from coffee all day long? Like, no. What I do is I focus on not drinking it past 2 p.m. the next day. So, this will allow me to get to bed on time, right? I set my alarm at 8 p.m. And I know once I have that 8 p.m., like, hey, I'm reading the kids a story, and I am now focused on getting to bed. So, limiting the coffee past 2 p.m. allows for me to, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit tired in the afternoon, and that's fine. You're supposed to be tired. You're not supposed to be super energetic. You didn't sleep the night before. You didn't sleep maybe the last 3 nights. So you're not supposed to be like just wired 24/7. You have to allow yourself to be tired. And that's just kind of what it is. So focus on the upcoming night's sleep by limiting the caffeine in the afternoon. I found is useful for me. Limiting caffeine the morning you get off just doesn't work. Sorry. So you get home. What do you want to eat? Well, I always recommend a protein heavy breakfast. And I cannot emphasize this one enough. I like to add some ground beef to my eggs. If you got some steak laying around, cook it up. If you got some chicken, whatever it is that you got, mix it all together. Throw some salsa on there, hot sauce, eat some sourdough. Man, a protein first breakfast will help you stabilize those blood glucose fluctuations, and it'll help that protein will help stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to control those cravings, right? Because we're like reaching for whatever. And not to mention that ground beef and eggs taste phenomenal, like the best thing ever. So, nothing like some steak and eggs, ground beef and eggs in the morning to get you in the right direction. That is a way to go. And next, you definitely need to be mindful of your hydration and your electrolytes. There's a ton of data now coming out on electrolytes, and all of it is good. You got your sodium, your potassium, your magnesium. All of these essential electrolytes help with your heart function. And not to mention, they help with your brain fog and with muscle cramping. Say the night before you went to a fire or you got up and you had some type of physical thing that you were doing, you wake up, more than likely, like, ooh, you're cramping up. Gosh, I got to get some water in. Yeah, you got to get some water in, but you got to get some sodium and some electrolytes. There's a really good company out there. It's Firefighter owned, super clean ingredients. It's called Fire Science Nutrition. They have some tasty electrolytes called Fire Salt. Um, Super comparable to Element or any of the other electrolyte companies out there. Fire Salt, it's good. It's been working for me, and I really like their products. And like I said, no sucralose, no crazy ingredients. So, lastly, if you're up for it, you can go for a light workout. But if you're wrecked, for me, that's one of the last things that I want to do. If I'm on 2 to 3 hours of sleep, come home. The last thing I want to do is go work out, go do some crazy stuff. Like I said, I'll go for a walk. If I absolutely feel up for it, I'll do a little something in my garage, but nothing crazy. Just some movement. Some movement is better than no movement. But as we age and as we move forward in our careers, you really, really want to focus on the recovery. And that's what I wanted to emphasize here was it's not about grind. Let's get after it some more. You have to know how to downshift, and you have to be aware that you have to recover and do things that are going to help you to recover. It's not just grind your body. Got to recover. Don't overdo it. So, just to recap, track your sleep. If you see the number on your phone and it says you got 1.5 hours of sleep, it's going to do something for you mentally. It's going to turn on a switch that, like, okay, that was 0 sleep last night. I have to focus on the sleep moving forward tonight. Seeing that number really, really helps. Get some sunlight outside. It'll improve your mood. It'll reset your circadian rhythm, and it'll get your blood circulating, which is really good. Protein, get your steak and eggs, get your ground beef, get your chicken and eggs in the morning. Cannot emphasize this enough. It's going to help with your insulin levels. It's going to keep you full, and it's going to keep you satisfied and keep those cravings down. You're going to stay away from the peanut butter. You're going to hopefully stay away from the Randy's, even though Randy's is amazing. Hydration, electrolytes, you want to focus on. The the electrolytes will help you replenish from the lack of sleep, the dehydration, the chronic stress that your body is under, and it'll help carry the electrical signals from your heart to operate at its highest levels. So, last but not least, if you're up for it, get a light workout in, get the blood flowing, do whatever makes you feel good. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you found this helpful, share it with another firefighter, first responder who is struggling with their recovery. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. God bless.